All right, so now let's talk about One Piece, right? Which
Sure.
is probably one of the most anticipated shows, I would say, of this year, to come out of Netflix, right? So I'll start off with this, right? I am not the biggest One Piece fan, right?
Yeah, me
You know,
neither. But I'll explain. I'll explain why. It's actually
right.
not the usual reasons, I should say.
Okay. Well,
Because it's a
for
kind of meme. It's a kind of meme of why people don't watch One Piece, and that is not the reason. But yeah, go ahead.
all right, yeah. So for me, right, like when it comes to just anime consumption, especially in the 2000s, right, I would just kind of go off of what's trending, right? So like in the mid to late 2000s, my bag was, Naruto, Death Note,
Right,
Bleach, Samurai
right,
Champloo, stuff like that, right? And of course,
right.
early on was stuff like Samurai X, right? That's the show that really kicked things off, right? But One Piece I always heard of, right? But I just always felt intimidated by it, for the obvious reason, too much episodes. There's a lot of arcs,
That's a meme.
just a
That's the
lot.
meme.
Yeah, just a lot,
That's the
right?
meme. Yeah.
But when it comes to the fan base, right? I know some people who are huge, like diehard One Piece fans, right? They will tell you, dude, don't even study about how much episodes. The show is great. You need to see it. It is amazing. You'll love it, right? And it's not to say that like I won't watch it or I won't seek it out. Actually, like years ago, I can't remember when exactly, I started watching the One Piece, right? I think I got past like what the first 10 episodes or whatever, and I just kind of was like, but it could take me long to reach episode 700 or whatever it was back then, right? So I just never
Right,
got
right,
into
right.
it, right? But I believe it was either last year or year before, we started hearing rumblings online about a live action One Piece series, right? That's going to come out through Netflix.
Right.
Now, when it comes to Netflix, and we had to talk about this in the review itself, right? They've had a track record of like, not so much hits, but more noble failures. That's the best way I can describe it. That's just to quote you, right?
At
So,
best.
yeah, it was the live action Full Metal Alchemist film, right? Which I remember I
Right.
covered. I remember it came out around the time when Black Panther came out. But if you ask me what it was about, I can't even tell you, right? And I mean, I really enjoy Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, right? But yeah, if you ask me what
Right.
that movie was about, nah, I can't tell you a single thing, right? Death Note, utter failure in my opinion.
Right.
I've talked
I
about it
remember
before.
kind of defending that. Huh? I remember kind of defending that.
Yeah, but just
Yeah.
just trying to shorten down a two-season series
Yeah.
into an hour and a half made no goddamn sense to me, right? Bleach, I absolutely defend. I actually thought it was
Right.
good, like for
It's
what it
I
was.
also defend that as well.
Yeah.
Because I'll
I'm
say
sorry.
Bleach.
Well, the VFX are a little wonky in some parts, and but it
No,
still
but I
worked.
wish what they did with this is what they should have done with Bleach. To be
I
honest, is
agree,
that
totally agree. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, right. And then, well, of course, we had to close with Cowboy Bebop, right? Which,
right. Which
I
noble
remember,
failure.
like, we both had it as the worst TV show of 2021. And
Yeah,
funny,
but I put it in the camp of noble failure.
right. And,
So
and oddly
yeah,
enough, I was trying to remember while I was watching this show here why I hated Cowboy Bebop so much now. 'Cause I remember you was talking about how it looked cheap to you, but I just felt
yeah,
like it just sort of okay, like basically, and I know this might be a similar issue to diehard fans of One Piece. Yeah, it took the stories that we love from Cowboy Bebop, and it just sort of like
half-ass them. Yeah,
subverted them in ways that just didn't make
yeah,
any sense. It didn't really add to the
yeah,
story, especially like them last two episodes with Vincent. Though I was like,
yeah,
nah, boy, they really dropped the ball with that. They really dropped the
yeah.
ball, right? But yeah, with One Piece, I mean, my expectations were like, all right, we'll see how this thing plays, all right. But I was really more interested in how the fans were going to react to this, right? So I'll close this, right? On the Friday when it dropped, right? I actually like started watching it about in the afternoon period, right? And I was just
Right.
there like kind of going back onto YouTube to see people reactions, like show up on my YouTube feed, right? I was expecting somebody to say, "Oh, worst show of the year," and what did they do, and blah blah blah. But like at the moment,
Right.
at the time of us talking here, I have yet to see a bad review for this, though. Like especially from
No. Yeah.
fans.
Agreed.
Yeah, and I was
Yeah.
like, okay. And it took me about a couple days to get things done. Well, actually, as a matter of fact, 3 days, because I actually actually watched the last two
Right.
episodes today, the time of us recording this. Yeah, I could see why it has not had a negative review as yet.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I suspect somebody might come out and say that it's bad, but I'll just kind of sell myself out at one time, right? I would say that either you had to be the biggest One Piece fan and you just want this live action adaptation to be perfection, you're not gonna get
Right.
that with this. Or you're just a
Right.
straight up asshole who just
Right.
can't understand that
Yeah.
yes, this is an adaptation, a live action adaptation of an anime. So yeah,
Right.
the weird shit that you see in this show here, and yeah, there's some weird shit in this, right?
No. Yeah. Yeah. They
It's
will win. Yeah.
it's the same weird stuff that I know about, even though I'm not familiar with the lore of One Piece, of the anime itself, right? So it's like
Right.
that, right? It's really one of those shows where you have to go in knowing exactly what the show is, right? If you have no idea about what One Piece is, you just watch this and think it is probably one of the most bizarre pieces of television you will ever see. But no, like if you're marginally familiar with what One Piece is and just the
Right.
characters and the skill sets, then yeah, you'll be like, yeah, I am watching that adaptation. Nothing more, nothing less. But yeah, Ricardo, take it away. Your history with One Piece.
Yeah. No. For me, so here's the thing with One Piece. It's not that it's not an issue with One Piece. So if you remember the internet days, the early internet days, it had a old meme ninjas versus pirates kind of thing.
Uh huh.
Like
Oh, no, all right. Because Naruto and One Piece were on top.
right.
Yeah.
And yeah, I the reason I just can't get into One Piece has nothing to do with the length or the art style or anything like that because I like Solita and Solita have weird art style and weird
Oh
like the
yeah, it
rubbery
does.
thing.
It does.
I don't think so. So I don't really that was never the problem. The length is also another thing I never get, and it's actually a real kind of simple reason. I don't care about pirates, right? Same reason I could have never really get into the Pirates of the Caribbean films. Same reason.
Oh, okay,
I
okay,
don't
all
know.
right.
I don't know why. I don't know why, but I think it's because of because I grew up in the Caribbean and I have some workable sense of Caribbean history. Knowing the real world aspect of pirates and and it's mostly demystified for me. I couldn't get into this, and I really get why One Piece is popular, especially now and especially amongst like people of color and wherever it is, because it's like oh it gets it like like a big part of the conceit of the storyline is Joy Boy and have a lot of African and Haitian voodoo and stuff and references to Caribbean like folklore and mythology in One Piece itself. Like again, if you know who Joy Boy is, like oh, would that the storyline? I would Oda cooking boy, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
Oda
Well, they're
himself
actually
also
drawing from. Well, yeah. I mean, pirate. I don't want to say mythology, but just yeah, about piracy. You know what I mean? Like just the
yeah,
idea of adventure and swashbuckling and all that kind
and
of stuff, and
then
not just
the
inventing stuff for the sake of. You know what I mean? I get what you mean.
and the central message of the show is great. Like what Luffy is, he's effectively a kind of I don't know what to call it, but like a kind of leftist, terrorist almost, and like he's comparable to somebody like Che Guevara or something like that. Like Oda cooking, like this, let him cook. So you can understand why people love it. But I just not into pirates. Like I like
Okay, okay.
ninjas because ninjas is still cool to me, and then whatever
Ninjas are
Bleach is
awesome,
doing,
yo. I'm sorry.
exactly,
Ninjas are awesome.
and then
That's why we fucked with
whatever
Naruto back in the days. Yeah.
right, and then whatever Bleach is doing with its supernatural world building and it's very explicitly Japanese. I think that is it. It's just because it feels newer. Whilst One Piece, because I'm familiar with actual pirates and the actual history, I couldn't get into it in terms of that coolness, weird world building alien factor to it. That's it. I just don't find the pirates that interesting. The whole pirates and the world and the age of sail concept don't really work main. Whilst ninjas and whatever Bleach doing in terms of its explicit samurai culture and the world building with respect to that, that's cool to me. And that's it. It's just that simple aesthetic is a choice. That's it. No hate on One Piece. If you say Oda is the goat, yes, I agree with you. If I say is One Piece is one peak, I agree with you. But that is not why I'm into it. I am not into it. And with that said, I think the show is pretty good. It's actually comparable to even though I've been on the negative end of the show. Rurouni Kenshin Wandering Samurai. It's up there with that quality of recreation, which is
Agreed.
damn awesome.
Agreed. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. To the point that they do the Rooney Kenshin live action thing where you see characters slide on the floor before they do a move.
yep,
Like I saw that
yep.
a couple of times. Like yeah, I'll get that from Rooney Kenshin. You're like, come on, man. But yeah, go
No, I
on.
mean it's the same action concept of typical anime action stuff, right? It's that, and they make it work for what it is. Like none of it are mad at or making or have any issues or complaints about. It's very faithful to the storyline. When you see a character who they get to the actor, like alright, yeah, that's they look like that. They get Zoro, yeah, he looks like that. Luffy, pretty good acting choice. Nami, yep, correct, yeah. And they get everybody. They make it work. The opening sequence is really well shot. I like how they shoot that where Goldie Roger, uh,
Yeah, it's about to
you
be
know,
executed. That was great, though.
you're right.
I must say.
Yeah, And
Very, very,
when
again,
he tell them
very,
about
very, very Pirates of the Caribbean inspired. Like the first film,
exactly.
they do that. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Yeah, but they do the whole how that whole sequence and everybody started panic and scramble with finding out that the treasure out there. And like, alright, yeah. And it's like, yeah, this is the story. That's the story. They make it work. The flashbacks are decent. They tell that whole thing. And it's the straight up they do the anime thing. But what's the smart part is that they do the smart part of Cowboy Bebop by giving it material. And then they do the smart part of the best of so it's like a mix of the best of the live action Bleach and the best of the live action Cowboy
Bebop.
Bebop, giving it
Yes.
time, but also feeling faithful to the material in its own way, and they don't change too much. That's the only thing. As I said, if Bleach did this, I would have really liked that Bleach live action a lot more. Like I wish for the second Bleach, if they're doing a second Bleach movie, because from what I understand, it was removed from Netflix, which is like sad. But if they're making a second Bleach movie, they should do something like this to tell the Soul Society out. The Soul Society are kind of long, right? So, um, I really, really want to see. I just thought this was just reasonably well done, like solid. Again, not a One Piece fan, but like I watching it and like yeah, they nailed this. They make it work. It feel like the anime. They have especially Zoro. He's great. Like all the stuff with
Yes.
Zoro, they do a lot of great stuff with him. But like everybody like and I remember going up online and looking up the comparing the character, like just comparing the character to
Oh,
the
to the source material.
anime version.
I
Yeah,
still
it's like
have to do that. I haven't done it
yeah,
yet. I will
and
do
it's
that.
it's 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 like they nail it. It's like, oh yeah, that's this character. And like I can't forget the names of certain characters. And I'm like, oh yeah, right. This character, and they make it work. I just had fun with it. I binged it over about a few days myself. I just pick off like two at a time because I was surprised how long each episode was. Like, what they take the time because yeah, 2 hours is an hour pop. I'm like, all right, what 8 episodes? Like, all right, they're making a binge in it, but they make it work, and I thoroughly love this. Solid outing for me in my opinion. I think it's pretty good actually.
Right. So let me just get this out of the way. This is this year's the Sandman Dread in terms
Yeah,
of being so incredibly faithful to the source material and at the same time pumping tons and tons of cash into
yeah, they
this.
spend their money.
They
They spend
spend
their
their
money.
money, Joe. Like I just watching
That's big spending
scenes,
money.
I
Yeah,
watching fight sequences, I'm watching production design, I'm
yeah.
hearing sound design. I'm like, yeah, they're spending money on this boy. My God,
Mm.
nothing felt half-assed in this show at all, right? They really put effort into this, right? And I would say that if you are a diehard One Piece fan, you have to appreciate that at least, right? I guess if you're going with expectations too high and you want this thing to be the greatest thing ever, you probably will be like, not so much. But nah, for what it is, what they set out to do, I think that they exceeded by. Casting, I thought was really strong though. So I'm not
Yes,
familiar with the lead himself, Inaki Jaso, right?
correct.
Or Inaki Godoy Jaso, sorry, right? But it's only like when I was watching it, and I had to stop after the second episode and I say, why that guy accent like this? And I realized, oh, he's Mexican. It's like, oh, okay, that
Right.
actually makes
Well,
sense, right?
the character, well, Luffy's supposed to be Brazilian, if I remember correctly.
Okay,
So,
shit, I did
uh,
not even know that. Wow.
yeah, Luffy himself, but I'm not sure if he is Mexican, if the actress is Mexican. I think the actor is Mexican, right?
Yeah, the actor is Mexican, yeah. Right,
Right, okay,
so
right,
forgive me One Piece fans, right? But I just,
right.
even though you have, characters of different ethnicities, right? I never really
Yes,
associate them with being of a particular, continent or whatever, like familiar to us, right? So, oh, he's not South
right.
American or African or whatever it is, but he is black
Well,
or
I
whatever.
mean,
I
the,
don't
the
know.
world, the world of One Piece is not like it's not comparable to our world at all. It's not like
Right.
it have like Brazil or South America or anything like that. It
Hmm.
has its own thing because I know what the Grand Line is and I know what the World Line is and I know what East Blue is and all these things, right? I felt they could have set up that map a little better, to be fair, because like when they introduced Nami, they just had her somewhere in the East Blue. And like, okay, if I don't know what the East Blue is, because I kind of know what the One Piece is. I know the world of One Piece a little bit. I knew what that was, but like if somebody coming in from the scratch, they won't know what that is. I felt they could have set up the world a little better. But
Yeah.
but that's the whole point of One Piece is to tell you
But
after the fact kind of thing
yeah,
anyway.
but
So
but
whatever.
I'm wondering now how they would have done that. Because for one thing, well, I should mention here, the first episode actually had a bit of voiceover narration by Ian McShane,
Right,
right? Another
right,
pirate actor, right? But I
yeah,
just feel like, yeah, but he just talked for the first episode, Dred. So you're telling me he can come in during those moments, like you say, explaining what the East Line is, or whatever it is,
right. I
and
felt that.
just kind
Yeah,
of give like a little brief summary. Like I'm not saying him a montage, but just give
right.
him a little some, you know what I mean? Like I felt
Yeah,
they could have utilized him more, right? But yeah,
right.
but back to the cast himself, right? Zoro, right? Who even though I haven't watched a lot of episodes of One Piece, was a standout character for me.
Yeah,
The actor who plays him, McKenyu, right? It's only like
Yeah.
after the fact I look it up. He is actually the son of the late great Sonny Chiba. I'm like, well,
Oh, really?
what
Okay.
though? Okay, okay. And if you're familiar with Sonny Chiba's filmography, yeah, that guy starring some weird shit too. But
Yes.
yes, but I thought that he nailed it as a character. That stoic warrior, especially with the whole tree katana thing is great. I love
Yeah.
how they like his backstory is badass in my opinion. How they establish that. And that's visually, those moments with him, though, were fantastic. Those flashback scenes, right? Nami, you know what I mean, played by Emily
Yeah.
Rudd. When I saw the scene, I was like, wait, are you familiar with Paul Rudd? But like, no, right? Yeah, yeah,
Right.
she was actually quite, likable as Nami, right? This thief with tangerine hair, and they actually explain,
Yes.
why she has that color hair. One thing about the
Right.
show, though, you will see characters with different hair colors and whatnot. I just like the fact that they don't stop to tell you, oh, that's why that character have that
It's anime.
hairstyle. It's
It's anime. It's
anime.
anime.
Shut up. It
It's
doesn't
anime.
matter, right?
Let's
No
accept
matter,
it.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but that's a touch again on Inaki though. Like just face-wise mannerisms, he nailed Monkey D. Luffy, right? I even like
Yeah.
how he
Yeah. Yeah.
pronounce Monkey. He does this like Monkey D. Luffy. Like
Yeah.
he just adds like a
Yeah.
little inflection to it, right? And
And
dude,
I like that they set up the devil fruit stuff early. Like they
yes,
do that
yes,
one
yes,
time.
yes.
They
From,
didn't,
from
they
the
didn't
first
make a thing
episode,
out of that.
right?
Yeah.
He is so charming and likable, and you buy into why he is that way. Like you see him at first, like I want to be king of the pirates. Like, bro, shut
Yeah.
up, right? But
Right.
throughout the show, you really buy into his optimism. You buy into his dream. You know what I mean? And yeah, you can understand why Monkey D. Luffy is a really like beloved character in, I would say, all of anime, right? The
Right.
side characters I thought were great as well. Like I kind of marginally familiar with some of the villains. So, I should mention before I get to villains too. So I'm not too familiar with Usopp and Sanji, but I thought that just as side characters they were great as well. I should say main
Yeah.
characters, and how they were brought into the story was great as well, right? Even like sorry, not Usopp himself, like the guy who plays him. I thought that he did a great job as well, and you kind of buy into. He have this slight naivety about him, but he's still so charming that you buy into it too, right? Um, the villains, I'm not really familiar with a lot of them, though, but I actually know
Right.
like Buggy the Clown,
Right.
Jeff Ward, though. Like they get Jeff Ward to play him, though, and I thought that he did a
Mm-hmm.
great job. Just that episode with him, though, was great in terms of this sort of twisted circus thing. That was really great. Kobe was, Kobe is the side character as well too, who kind of started off as this cabin boy of like one of the main villains, but then he ends up
Yeah.
joining the Marines, and there's this subplot involving the Marines trying to hunt down, Luffy and his team. I thought that was great as well. Just that contrast with that. And just I mean I could talk about characters for these, right? But yeah, I thought that
Right.
just character-wise, they nailed it, right? Um, the show, I love how the show commits to its material, right? Where yes, characters do weird things and they look weird. Like the moment when I saw what Buggy's skill set was, I was like, okay, this is that type of show. All right, all right. And for the most part, they make it work, right? And I would say this, right? Again, if you're not familiar with the material at all, you might watch this and think it's just bizarre for the sake of being
Right.
bizarre, right? And I would admit, it's some weird, bizarre shit,
It
right?
would.
But
Yeah.
it's good bizarre, right? In the sense that you have to remember that this is the anime and these are characters that that exist. So you have to kind of take it for what it is, right? I like that they just set up the world in such a way that yeah, a character like this would exist, and they'll just kind of tell you, oh, devil fruit, or it's just a guy who have this long sword who could like slice a ship in half or whatever it is.
Right.
Just buy into it, right? Shut up. It's that type of show, right? Um,
Yeah.
it's even to the point they have like this marine guy who have like cat whiskers, and I just saw that I was like, okay, this is the show we watching, all right, right. But I will say this is a nitpick, right? And I imagine it might be the same thing for diehard fans too. At times it is like just the character reveals and how the characters move and they look and whatnot could be a little cosplay at times. That's like
A little bit. I felt.
a
I
kind of
felt.
a
It's
compliment,
still,
but a
it's
kind
still,
of a criticism I could give it to.
yeah.
Like I
I'll say
applaud the.
costumes.
Mm.
Costumes can just feel a little hold back. Like it's like when they introduced that first female pirate. I forget her name, right? The big fat
Oh,
woman.
oh gosh, what's her name? Alvida.
Yeah.
Alvida, yeah.
Yeah. That feel like a costume.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
But yeah, like when it got to like villains, like see let me see who it is by the fish man. What's his name? Arlong, right? Arlong.
Right,
Yeah, like
right.
I'm watching it, I admiring the makeup, right, and all that kind of stuff. But I was like, if there was like some Comic Con or something, so I can just imagine like this dude walking just like that, and it would be nothing, right? Even the way how he dresses and all that, and especially like his goons too. Like I just watching some like yeah, some kind of cosplay shit though. But again,
Yeah.
it's a compliment and a criticism, right? So if you're going kind of blind, you just kind of watch this and think it's like some weird, goofy stuff, right? But it's the will of the show, and I appreciate that, right?
Right.
I really applaud the fact that they stuck with the weirdness and went with it to the very end, right? But what they should do very well too is kind of justify the weirdness too, right? So like case in point, the fishmen, they're not just
Yeah.
guys who are fishermen, right? I like that they set up the fact that the Marines used them and they were like slaves at a point in time and they fought back.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you can kind of look
Yeah.
into that, like they're minorities. I get okay, and the guy who plays
Right.
them,
Yeah. No.
I believe
No. The
is
show.
black. It's like I get that.
Okay, so
It's okay,
yeah,
it
this
makes
is the
sense.
show.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I remember everybody, as I say, you call Oda the goat and One Peak, right? Because it I would go as far as saying woke, and I don't like to use that word woke, but for I understand, he has a picture of Che Guevara on his desk or something like that.
Are you serious?
Oda. Yeah. It's that. It's because the show really gets into like a lot of like, hey, the world's unfair, there's a lot of systemic violence and so on. So it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
and,
we
and,
don't
and
know
look at
what
these,
it's
look at
right?
these, like nefarious British men, and they're always British,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, all right, sure, I see you.
Right.
But yeah, they do that very very well, man. I must say, right? Yeah, I like how they justify certain things. Case in point, Monkey's finishing moves, right? Like there's a great line where he says, and it shows back up in I believe in the final episode, where it says, great fighters, always call out the finishing moves, right? And a character saying, no, they don't. I like that. That is great,
Yeah.
right? So it justifies why this character would do something so admittedly silly. But then somebody else kind of watching like, dude, why you saying, gum, cannon or whatever move it is, right? We know why because of the nature of the show itself, right? But in live action, you kind of give me a reason why this character would say it, right? I like that it's short,
Yeah.
it's simple, it's to the point, right? Again, visually this show looks amazing though. You can tell that they pump real cash into it, right? Yes, there are the noticeable VFX moments, but I thought that it was
Right.
near seamless in my opinion in
It
terms
was fine, yeah.
like,
It was mostly fine. I had no problems with it.
no problems with it at all.
Yeah.
Production design was great though. Like I love when they
Yeah.
went into
Like
certain islands.
I don't expect it to
and-
be. I don't expect it to be as expensive as the Pirates of the Caribbean films. Like it's
No,
not
no.
no. But it for what they do their thing.
Yeah, and it's only like in the first episode I realized they shot a majority of it in South Africa. It's like
Right.
boy, like,
Right.
imagine
Right.
what this
Which
show
is-
is going to do
which
for
is,
their tourism though. Holy
Which is
shit.
what Black Sails, where they shoot Black Sails. So because I
Oh,
feel
okay.
like a
Well,
Black
I
Sails
didn't know.
kind of
I didn't know. I actually
Yeah.
never watched Black Seals.
Yeah, no, that's a great show. Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. Well, thanks for letting me know, right? Yeah. And also too, just to touch back on the acting again. I love how everybody just give it their all, though, right? It's not hammy. Even though they have a couple of like cheesy lines. I want to say cheesy. I mean like in the sense of it sounds exactly the way how
It's very
a character
earnest.
would talk in a comic book or a cartoon. Very expressive, like "Let's get out of here" or "I'll get you."
Yeah.
Like they talk like that, right? But
I mean,
again,
it's
given the
it's
nature of the
Speed
show,
Racer
it's like
thing now.
okay, that's what it is. Shut up, roll with it. I was fine with
No,
it.
it's a Speed Racer thing. You see the same reason why I like Speed Racer? Because like that's how they used to talk in the anime. That's what it is.
Yeah,
It's like-
exactly.
yeah.
And again, it's just going back to how faithful this show is, right? And even though I only saw like a minuscule of all the episodes, all the existing episodes of One Piece, I could tell that the creators put so much heart and so much effort into this show, Trent. Dog, by the season's end, I gave a shit. I cared about Luffy. I cared about Nami. I cared about Zoro,
Yeah.
Usopp, Sanji. I cared about them. The villains themselves. Well, I should say just without spoiling anything, right? Before I wrap things up. Just where they leave things off, though, I thought was great. I love how they tied
Yeah.
certain narrative threads, where it's like, all right, so I don't wanna I don't want to call, I don't want to like predict something bad, right? But just in case we don't get a second season of this, just in case,
Right.
I do like that it stopped things, where everything stops is great, right? Where, yes,
Right.
you could have a second season, right? But in case it doesn't, there's always the manga, there's always the anime. You could go and check it out,
Well,
right?
the anime did stop for a while, if I remember correctly, it wasn't cancelled, but they did stop it for a little while. So One Piece fans was on a little rot for a little while. But same thing with Bleach, so it's like whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
Right. So it's a couple, right? The music I thought was great as well. Like I again only saw 10 episodes, the first 10 episodes, but I heard the original theme. Like it show up in
right.
a few episodes, like near the
Yeah,
end.
yeah,
That's all
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
say
You're
with those
hearing it,
poetic.
hearing.
It's like, hey, word. I like that. I like that. There's a
Yeah,
couple of songs. There's one in particular that closes the final episode. I would not even be surprised if that's an ending theme. I don't know, One Piece fans, y'all could tell me, right? But yeah, even with the music, they say faithful to the source material, right? And yeah, as a whole, though, again, I just call this, this year's, the Sandman, right? Yeah, where basically, not only does it look great and it plays out very well, and it will actually would make for a great binge. It's much better than I expected it to be, right? If I
yeah,
just have like this a minor flaw though, well, outside of the whole cosplay elements at times, um, is that basically like each episode is clocks in like about an hour long, right? Hour max, if anything, right? While
right,
I do appreciate the effort in terms of fleshing out characters, giving them little quiet moments, the backstory and whatnot, there are times where I feel like the story sort of slows down a bit because of that, right?
right.
I appreciate it, I really do, right? Especially as somebody who knows nothing about who these characters are, the motivations. It still kind of slows the story down, right? But not too much. Like I didn't find myself bored or checking myself out or being checked out or whatnot, right? I get
Right.
why the show is paced that way, right? And then also too, again, you have to think about it as an adaptation. You have to think about it as a series as well. You can't give us the anime treatment where it's just action and set piece and action set piece. Yeah, you
Right.
can add flesh characters or them as human beings, and you had to get you get the actors to come through to do their thing, and you give them you had to give them time, right? And yeah, I appreciate the fact that they give the characters screen time. You know what I mean? They give the actors screen time to just act their asses off and do what they had to do, man. Right? But yeah, as a whole though, this was much better than I expected it to be. I absolutely dug this. This is a blast. Netflix finally cracked the code to their own,
Yeah,
live action. Sorry, animated live action
yeah.
adaptation. They finally cracked it, right? I have to say, there, 'cause remember they set this up from since I believe from since Death Note, I think, right? I can't remember if
Right.
Death Note or Full Metal Alchemist came, which one came before. I can't remember right now, right? But yeah, they
Think for
finally
last one.
figured out.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like this show is going to do. It has to do gangbusters, right? It has to. 'Cause
I
again,
expect
they
it to do
put
good. Yeah.
so much effort and so much money into this show, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, a season two has to happen, boy. But again, the nature of Netflix, especially what's going on with the writer strike and whatnot, and the actor strike.
Right. Right.
Sorry,
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. But as an adaptation for something that I don't want to put it in the camp like say Sandman, where it could not have been. There was no way you could adapt this or whatever it is, because even Oda himself, right, say that
Yeah.
he was always wishing to adapt it to live action, right? This actually,
Right.
well, I watched it after the fact, right, after the final episode. Yeah, him and the actor actually meet up in real life, and Oda like don't like to show your face, sir. I don't know. Because
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
watch the video, you see what I talk about. Like the man, like real secretive. I don't understand that. Whatever.
Well, I know what you look like, so it's like whatever. I don't know what you
Yeah,
are.
but they do a thing in that video where like his face was blocked. I'm like, okay, is it that Oda like kind of secretive or something? I don't know. Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. That was weird.
Yeah, it is right. But yeah, for what it is, boy, this show excelled. It exceeded expectations for me, man. Right. And I'm not gonna say that I came out of this as a One Piece fan, but I could see myself actually like going back to the old to the earlier episodes pretty much, and seeing how that plays out, and then do a little compare contrast on my own, right? If not, I mean I could always watch Mojo and have them do it for me or whatever, or IGN, I don't
Right.
know, right? But yeah, rating wise, I'm gonna give this a decent to strong 4 to 5, man. If you
Yeah.
are a One Piece fan, Huss, you will enjoy this one way or the other, right? If you just want this shit to be perfect, then yeah, you will be disappointed, right? But even if you're, I would say non-fans, I would say tread carefully into this. This is not your average TV show. This show embraces its anime-ness, sorry, and more. Whether it's the fighting, to the dialogue, to the characters themselves. So let's go in knowing that this show is based off an anime and you should be fine. If you're going blind and you have no knowledge as to what One Piece is about, this might just be too weird for you, right? So I would say kind of stay clear of it, right? And I'll close this. Just one last little minor gripe though. Based on the comic book from Ichiro Oda, Like you couldn't say manga. Like I understand, it's for American audiences, right? But Jesus Christ, manga,
Yeah,
folks, there's a
yeah.
difference. Oh God,
Or at least say graphic novels up there. God.
Jesus Christ, why based on the
Anyway, who
comic
cares?
book?
Who cares? Yeah, who
Nah.
cares? Who cares? Who cares? Whoever.
But anyway,
All good.
but yeah, One Piece is a real deal. I can't believe I saying this though. It's a real deal, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
y'all should really check it out. But yeah, Ricardo, your final thoughts and rating.
Yeah, pretty much. They kind of fucking nail it. I didn't expect to enjoy this as much as I did. I was like, because I saw the trailers and I was like, all right, here's the thing. Because I'll admit that if I probably was a big One Piece fan, I would have find things to nitpick and thing. And the only thing I'll probably nitpick about is the whole where the camera is problem. That's the same problem I had with Rurouni Kenshin movies. Like
Oh, but
the only
I
issue I
will
have.
say that they actually do some dynamic camera work here though. Not all the
And I,
time, but
that's what I'm
every so
saying.
often.
When I was watching it, not like the fight in the bar when he take on the Marines for the first time with Zoro. I like
Oh,
yeah, but they
they
nailing
nail
this
it.
though.
They
Like
nail it. Yeah.
yeah, like they nailing it to this hard ass. So yeah, I was thoroughly enjoying it. So it seemed to even avoid that problem. So I was like, all right, well, I can't be mad at this. You know, it not perfect in the sense that it's not Pirates of the Caribbean money. Obviously it ain't got Disney money, but it's good. It's good, a decent product for it is. It corny because that's the material, that's the source material that I waited from. But it very it not I won't say we say the word corny, but I really say it has its heart on its sleeve and very earnest. Right, that is a compliment. 8 out of 10. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I thought they really did a great job of just putting everything together. Everybody feels their part. They look the role. They nail it. Yes, the atmosphere, set design, sound design. As I said, the only again the smallest nitpick was just I find a couple characters look a little too cosplay in the costume designing department. But that's about that. I had no other problems other than that. Yeah, 8 out of 10. I thought this was excellent.